Hey, you're listening to No Limits, episode 66, the PlayStation podcast where Spider-Man 2, it's out, baby. Sam, did that intro just finish for you just now?
I mean, again, it's pointless asking me because it never plays for me. I just sit here in silence, so I don't see anything.
How many seconds was there silence on this horrible laptop between?
I mean, I wasn't counting, but like
10.
It didn't seem any longer than the usual intro probably would be. So,
all right, well, we're going with it because once again, listeners and viewers, I'm still in a hotel because my landlord is incompetent.
hooray!
If anyone who works for my landlord is listening to this podcast, I said what I said.
Yep.
Yeah, Toph doesn't like them either. Isn't that right, Toph? Isn't that right, Toph?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's further extending the intro rigmarole here. Once again, you're listening to No Limits, a PlayStation podcast. I'm Taylor, joined by my co-host Sam. Brianna is currently in the Middle East. Well, is Jordan? She is many thousands of miles away from her usual recording station. Let's say that. Remember, you can find the video version of this podcast over on youtube.com/SaveTheGameMedia every Tuesday. And while you're over there, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you'd rather listen to audio, we are on all your favorite podcast services. We would love it if you could leave us a review. It helps us grow, and we would love any feedback. If you want to support us and get early access to all Save the Game Media content, head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia and choose the tier that's right for you, just like our current patrons did. Bucky Blue, Aman, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher Primus, Brenda Myers, Marcus Neal, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, the Xbox Expansion Pass, Alpaca Tom, and Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. Sam, I realized I forgot to hit start recording on the logos. I'm going to do that now. Okay?
It's fine.
As Toph hits my phone. So, yeah. If this ends up being the local, just know we did the whole intro rigmarole. Go to Patreon, Extra Life, list of patrons. Everyone's great. Yeah, we did the intro for you local listeners. And speaking of Extra Life, I will be in Rome, New York in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Kevin from Project X Talk and I will touch in real life. It's going to be weird. It's going to be awesome. We'll be playing games to raise money for sick children. Hanging out with friends of the show like Carpool Gaming, who are awesome folks. So please help us raise money. And you can do that by raising money or doing that towards our Extra Life page. Donations headed towards there. And for every $10 donation you submit towards the Extra Life team, you gain one entry into our Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition giveaway with all 19 inches of Venom. Sam, do you have your 19 inches on you?
Oh, you mean this?
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's true.
Yeah.
And so if you donate $50, for example, you'd get 5 entries, $110, $10, 1 entry, etc. So $19 still gets you 1. So round up, guys, please. And yeah, win Spider-Man Ultimate Edition, or keep saying Ultimate Edition, Collector's Edition. And also, our Digital Deluxe Edition giveaway has ended and Savoy Prime won. So congrats to Savoy Prime. Yes. It's been a big Spider-Man 2 week. But Sam, what have you been playing / up to recently? I'm going to take
absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Very quiet. Ah, Taylor. I can finally say with bated breath that I have been playing Spider-Man 2. I've actually technically been playing it for almost a month now. I got the code at the end of where are we now? It would have been the end of September, because this is October. I will cover all bases. Thank you to PlayStation for sending me a review copy. I did not get it to review it. I got a review copy to perform the coverage for IGN. But I just want to cover the bases. I didn't steal a copy. I didn't do any shenanigans. I got it legit. I was meant to get it, etc. But yeah, that is essentially all I've been playing. Obviously, I said the other week on the now lost, unfortunately, episode of No Limits.
I hate it.
I did play I know, it's unfortunate. Such a great episode, probably one of our best, and people will never see it. I can say that because nobody will know.
Yeah, tough nose.
I did play a little bit of Dave the Diver. Haven't gone back to that yet, just because obviously as Spider-Man 2 is now out at time of recording, the desire to get as much stuff ready for launch as possible increased. So I had to dedicate pretty much all of my time every single day to getting stuff ready to go, which I've mostly succeeded at time of recording right now on the 22nd of October. Just before we started this, I finished the capture of the final mission for the walkthrough. So I just got to type that up, and by the time you see this, it will be live on IGN, alongside all the side content, list of every suit and where they debuted in the comics. We've got interactable maps. There's a whole load of stuff. You want some answers on some of the vague trophies on the trophy list? We've got answers for you. I don't know why I'm plugging the IGN wiki so hard, but I put so much work into it. Yeah, I've been playing Spider-Man 2, Taylor, and working on Spider-Man 2. That has been my life for the last month, and it's been very, very hard to not talk about it. I mean, but now I can, so it's fine.
Awesome. Well, Sam, one question I had, actually, as of recording, Spider-Man 2 should have finished downloading on the PS5.
Yes.
I am on hotel Wi-Fi, so this download took about 20 hours.
25 hours, yeah.
And I got the regular version. Digital Deluxe Edition upgrade is staring me in the face. I think I'll just grab it at a later time. Yeah. Are the suits, in your opinion, well, I usually don't go crazy for cosmetics in games, but the suits in Insomniac Spider-Man games have won me over, really. And I kind of need to have all of them eventually. So what I think I'm going to do is, let me back up. Do you think not having those suits, it's really just fine? The best suits in the game are not Digital Deluxe Edition suits, or would you hold a different opinion that maybe one of those Digital Deluxe Edition suits, cosmetically, are some of the best?
That's a good question. I think my favorite suits in the game are not part of the deluxe edition.
Good.
That being said,
no,
I do think this isn't. Don't panic too much. I do think one of the better / best suits, and this is subjective, obviously, because
of course,
a suit that I love, you might think is disgusting.
Right.
But there is. I'm trying to remember all of them off the top of my head. There are definitely two suits for Miles in the deluxe edition that I love and would rank quite high. And then there is definitely one Peter suit that I think is in contention for one of the best suits for Peter. But I still think that your approach is probably best. Because, and here's an interesting thing, Taylor, just contextually for you and for anybody who hasn't dove in yet. If you buy the deluxe edition, not only do you get the 10 suits, but you also get the like two extra skill points, I think, and early access to like a couple of gadgets. Something cool, which I haven't seen done before, is, or not that I can remember, if you have the deluxe edition from the get-go, and I assume this is the case if you purchase it retroactively and do another playthrough, but you can actually decide to disable those bonuses. So if you don't want those extra skill points and you don't want the early access to the gadget or the like caped suits, you can turn that off. So you will just get the standard experience. So yeah, I think you doing a regular playthrough and then take a look at the deluxe edition suits. If you really want them, then I'd say it's worth it. I would, if you consider it as you are paying $1 for every suit, like even if you don't love all the suits, which I don't, I still think that's worth it personally, because they're very unique and have a lot of detail on them, as you'd expect. So I think picking it up after the fact or part way through your first playthrough, whenever you decide you want to, I think that is a perfectly fine approach. I don't think you're going to be missing out on anything necessarily in the early run.
Nice. Thanks. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And I kind of had plans to, because I'm currently in this hotel, which is meh. I'll probably finish the playthrough on my nice TV. But what I think I'm going to do is eventually have a full run back through the franchise, because I've never completed any of the games on New Game Plus yet. So after Spider-Man 2, after some good time has passed, because of how much I've really forgotten about Spider-Man 2018. So run through New Game Plus there, run through Miles, and then through Spider-Man 2. And when I run back through Spider-Man 2 New Game Plus, at the latest, then I would pick up the new suits to add something new.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Because they will have added New Game Plus by that point, I would have thought. So,
oh, it's not part of the base game.
It's not. But they've already confirmed that it's coming realistically before the end of the year. So, by the time you got round to doing a New Game Plus of Spider-Man 2, it will be there.
Awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I plan to start today, and I really hope, you better not tell me, but I'm really, really hoping Bully Maguire Raimi suit, black suit, is in the game.
You have to wait and see. I'm not going to tell you either way. You know, there's a lot of very good suits. You know, they picked good ones. Some strange omissions, I will say. I'm not going to say any that there aren't, but don't expect every suit from the previous games to be in this one. They have refined their selection and obviously added in new ones, but there are some ones that I kind of miss. But, you know, I still think that the suit selection is excellent overall.
Awesome. Dude, Miles 2099 suit and Miles Morales. I love that suit. The hood.
I'm personally more of a fan of the 2020 suit.
Wait, is that the
digital visor?
Oh, okay. I was also looking at the bio. What is it? Like the one that is some nanotechnology on it.
Oh, from Miles Morales.
Yeah.
That's what's it called? Programmable matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
I enjoy that suit.
Yes. What have you been playing, Taylor?
I was playing Miles Morales last week. I 100%ed all the districts, and I started New Game Plus, but I was like, between dealing with the apartment stuff, and I just didn't have time dedicated to it. And I'm like, you know, that's when I decided I've been wanting to go back to Spider-Man 2018 anyway. I want to go through New Game Plus on Miles. We covered him last week, which you get listeners and viewers didn't see. And previously, I got really know the high points of 2018, and I forget a lot of the finer details. I'm going to double down on that and want to forget more of the finer details until I replay the game to make it fresher. So I was playing Miles Morales, but life got in the way. And yesterday I played a bit of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Mario Wonder FOMO got to me a bit. So I played some Mario. Not the new Mario, but some Mario.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, of course, I started downloading Spider-Man 2, which I will be playing for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
You should be.
Yes. All right. Speaking of Spider-Man 2, Sam, as the resident, and I think I can say this with confidence, you are probably at this point in time a subject matter expert, one of the few subject matter experts on this game.
Yes.
At this point in its release cycle, 2 days after its global release, you've had a month of work ahead time.
Yes.
And with that comes expansive amount of knowledge. So we wanted to do a non-spoilery FAQ for Spider-Man 2 from you, Sam. Sam the Spider-Man Sleuth. That's your new
That's me.
moniker. That's you. So I guess with this, should we jump down to the questions relating to Spider-Man 2? Or do you want to keep it to mechanically, visually, certain off-the-cuff things that you might come across as a player?
I will follow your lead. What?
All right.
If as you're as the untainted, unspoiled boy, I want you to direct this conversation, and I will give you what you ask. Yeah.
Little piss boy. That's what you're calling me, Sam.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay. What are questions I would have as someone who hasn't played it all for Sam and Spider-Man 2?
Yeah. A question for you though, just so I know completely off the bat, fully transparent. Have you been spoiled on anything at all?
No. So I guess you're gonna have to tread lightly on this one. Maybe I'm not the best subject for this.
No, that's fine. There's
seen a
still plenty I can do.
Okay. I've seen a screenshot of Venom.
Okay. But that, I mean, that's not really a spoiler. It's like he's in the game. Okay. Yeah.
Right. He's in the game. Yeah. Shocker. He's on the statue. He's in the game.
Yeah. I mean, this means nothing. This means absolutely nothing.
Are there new non-symbiote gadgets to play around with as regular Peter or regular Miles?
Yes. It has been highlighted in the showcase gameplay and state of plays. I know you didn't watch the state of play thing.
Oh wait, actually, I think I might have seen some of this.
But the new, because in Miles Morales and 2018, you had to like bring up the gadget wheel, right? And then you use your analog stick to select whatever you want and then dip back into combat. That's completely gone. That's just not a thing anymore. There are only 4 gadgets in the game.
For either character?
Yeah, for both.
Wow.
And they are the same for both characters.
That I wouldn't have expected that. Miles, I know, got his gadgets. Well, in the absence of gadgets, Peter has a black suit with all those symbiote powers, so I guess it compensates.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a difference because you now don't dip into a wheel anymore, but you have 2. I don't know what you call them. Like, it looks like a D-pad on each corner of the screen. The right one is the gadgets, the 4 gadgets you have. The left one is the abilities. So that's like on the left one for Peter, it would be the symbiote stuff, right?
For Miles,
and each one is a unique special
bioelectric venom
ability.
I should say.
And Miles is the electricity stuff. And you, instead of going into a wheel now, you have access to everything immediately. That's why they've limited it down to 4. And if you want to use a gadget, you hold R1 and then press square, triangle, X, or circle, depending on which gadget you want. Or if it's an ability, it's hold down L1 and then press one of the D-pad buttons. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's not D-pad buttons. It's the face buttons again, but it's just with either L1 or R1. So L1 abilities, R1 gadgets, and then the face buttons correspond to whichever ability or gadget is on the D-pad. I explained that really poorly, but it's very comprehensive and understandable once you get into the game.
Okay, cool.
So, but a couple of the gadgets in the game are new ones.
Okay, cool.
But there are only 4.
Awesome. All right, I think I have another one. Sony said, showcase / said, we'll have they would have a couple things about, I guess I'm grouping these questions together. New traversal options or more efficient traversal and around the city. And also, I think I saw snippets of this from online in headlines. The city feels more lively, higher density of people and objects. How does navigating the world and the actual world feel in that sense? Is it more dense compared to the previous games, or does it vary?
To put it lightly, and I don't want to oversell it, but traversal in Spider-Man 2 makes Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales look completely elementary in comparison, like rudimentary, bare bones.
Sam, are you saying that I'm going to hate these 2 games when I go to replay them in the future?
Not going to lie, it's a downgrade. It's going to be a downgrade.
All right.
You are going to feel more limited in the kind of things you can do. And you said specifically about speed. The speeds at which you can reach in this game, if you're doing things correctly, it is absurd. Like, especially because you haven't really been spoiled and you haven't been watching everything, I think you are going to be gobsmacked at how fast you can actually go in this game. And there are, I won't say anything, but there are definitely new traversal things that you can do, skills that you can invest into that add stuff to your repertoire in the same way that they did in 2018 and Miles Morales. But the offerings in Spider-Man 2 are not only more practical and actually vary up what you're doing as you're navigating, obviously with the web wings as well. That's like a no-brainer that it's going to enhance traversal. But like just visually as well, I think the things that you can unlock to do that are practical it's just cool, man. It's just cool. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it. But yeah, they really, the web swinging was great in Spider-Man and Miles Morales.
But here it's better.
But it is legitimately nothing compared to what they've done here.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And as someone, I guess, thanks for the warning about going back to the older games and seeing if it might be a downgrade. As someone who's gone back and played classic Mario for the first time after having experienced 3D Marios and also has replayed the Uncharted trilogy at least twice, I'm not a stranger to going back to worse combat systems to experience a narrative or a certain time and place in video games. So I think I'll be able to handle it. But thanks. Well, I'm really excited because I remember in Miles, there were certain instances where it was like I was trying to fill out my objectives towards the end and it said, the side mission is 1,600 meters away. I just started fast traveling to the nearest subway station because I'm like, this is going to take 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know that you've seen this yet. The fast travel in this game. Oh my God.
Is that good, huh?
If nothing else has been talked about more in this game online, it's been the fast travel. Like, it's unbelievable. It was shown off first in the little state of play video thing, which I don't think you've seen, with Brian Intar narrating over it. talking about all the open world stuff. And it looked incredible then. Actually seeing it in action and being able to do it on the fly it's something else. Insomniac are wizards, man. Seriously.
Awesome. All right, Sam, but what about the side missions? Some of these in 2018, or I should say side activities, some of these in 2018 were a bit lackluster. Like the emerging crimes got old somewhat quick. And I think they improved the side content in Miles. But did they notch it up a level in Spider-Man 2? Or is it same formula?
So I know you talk about activities. I will say, again, non-spoilers, obviously, the side missions in Spider-Man 2, there are less of them, but what is there is far more of substance. And all of them add tangibly to the narrative and the characters and the world, which is great to see. Not that any of the actual proper side missions in the other two games were bad necessarily, but they just feel more refined in Spider-Man 2. In terms of the like emergent crimes, basic side activity stuff, there are definitely more of them. And when I mean that, I mean variety. There are very there's a good number of different things that you can do. A few of them return from the other games. This, I mean, I'll say one as an example, and it's not a spoiler. But in Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales, you had the like car chases, you know, where you would zip onto the car and you'd have to like dodge around to one side of the car or the other and hit square and yank people out and then stop the car. That's in Spider-Man 2, but they've expedited it and truncated it where all you need to do is chase after the car and then zip to it. And that's it. They will, Miles or Peter, whichever one you're playing as, will then automatically web up the car in a new animation and stop it. So the old ones they've kept, but they've sped up to make it more efficient. And then they've added in new ones that add a lot of variety to things that you can stumble into as you're exploring. So it's the best of both worlds, I think. You know, don't fix what ain't broke. They've just sort of tweaked it a little bit so you don't have to do the exact same things as you've done already in the previous two games, and put spins on new stuff, which I won't spoil. So,
well, it seems like, Sam, everything here is just better.
Yep.
Is there anything in Spider-Man 2 that you think, I guess non-spoilery, that the predecessors do better?
You know, obviously everybody is sort of riding the high of Spider-Man 2 and recency bias and whatnot. I legitimately don't think there is something that the other two games do better. You know, Miles Morales was, to me, an improvement over 2018 because it was the exact same gameplay with new twists and stuff, and they cut out a lot of the fat. And I think that they've added a lot of stuff in with Spider-Man 2, as you'd expect with a full-blown sequel, but it still feels refined and toned down. And I personally didn't feel that there was anything superfluous or unnecessary in the game. I felt everything that they had me do to get to 100% and everything that they offered to me, I was always very happy to do. Obviously, the story is going to be a point of contention to some people. They will prefer the first one, perhaps. I think that's ludicrous, personally. I don't know how you can look at the story that Spider-Man 2 provides, obviously, without spoilers, and not think that it is just demonstrably better than the first game. I think, you know, a lot of criticism for 2018 was pacing. and how the third act, when the Sinister Six get broken out and they're in the open world, a lot of people complain that feels quite truncated and quite rushed. To me, there isn't any semblance of that at all. I think this is an impeccably paced game. Yeah, I think, honestly, I think the only thing that could be argued is better is the suit selections, but then that becomes completely subjective. I think devoid of that subjective perspective on, oh, well, I liked this suit and it's not in Spider-Man 2, but it is in Spider-Man 1, so I'll go back to play Spider-Man 1 and be in that costume.
Right.
That's valid, but devoid of that, I literally don't think anybody can argue that this isn't just by default a better experience.
Well, sold me, Sam. As if
you weren't sold already, Taylor.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. So this is going to come in like a freight train for the holidays. November 1st is going to be here in a weekend. I don't know about you, Sam, but I think the second the clock strikes midnight, November 1st, we are in the holiday season.
Sure.
And this game is going to fly off the shelves in about a month's time on Black Friday.
It's already running out of stock in multiple
this is
chains.
Something we don't have this as a story, but I've heard this game is like actually going physically out of stock places. Yep. Okay, I was in my Target yesterday. It wasn't out of stock there, for the record. But is this just a UK thing or is this like a global thing?
I mean, I've only heard the news stories here, which is the one that I shared in the Discord. But I can't imagine that if that's the case here, it's not going to be replicated at least a couple of other places. But yeah, like that is ridiculous to me because it's always typically hardware that's not available. PS5s or Xbox Series X's or whatever. But for software to be out of stock, like it's flying that fast off the shelves. And it's not like they would have underestimated how many copies they'd need, right? It's not like, oh, we'll get 50 copies of Spider-Man 2 in for this store. It's like, what are you talking about? You're going to have hundreds, I would imagine, and it's still running out of stock at multiple chains here. I mean, I know UK is typically skewing more PlayStation anyway. We're a relatively big market for PlayStation, but still, like, right.
That's what I'm saying. You guys are as far as the market share and play for your UK for PlayStation is so much bigger than, I don't know if it's bigger than Nintendo, but I know it's definitely bigger than Xbox. And with that, it's still selling out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I heard Insomniac, little tidbit said, the full game's on the disc, which is a notable departure from, I think, basically every PS5 game up to this point, right? At least, Sam, you as a physical collector of many PS5 titles, of course, you have the collector's edition, so you have a digital code. Maybe in the future, in like 2 years, you'll pick up physical copy for like 10 euro. Yeah. Sorry, 10 pounds. But yeah, Insomniac said the whole game, excluding the day one patches, of course, or subsequent patches, is on the disc, whereas all your other physical copies have just been keys to download the full game or keys to copy. So how does that work for your physical game so far? I guess a little side tangent. Do they copy from the disc to your console, or it's, you have permission to download this game, now downloading from the internet?
No, it's copying from the disc.
Okay, that's what I thought. But it's not, you can't play it immediately. It has to copy to your system's SSD.
Correct.
Or SSD internal expansion to run if it's a PS5 title. Yeah. So I guess what Insomniac was really saying is that you can play this game right from disc, or it's just that the full game's on the disc. You don't need to require additional download, which is what I think what they meant.
Yes, yeah, you don't need the day 0 or day 1 patch to play the game. You can.
So that's really like what it was on PS4.
Yeah,
I think PS3 was it was the last console where that was not the case. If I recall correctly, in terms of the PlayStation iterations. Okay. All right. Well, awesome. Speaking of Spider-Man 2, Sam, I asked you Well, I asked you a lot of questions. You gave me a lot of answers.
I
Want
did.
to take the next story, or should I? Or should I? You know what? I'll take it.
I'll take it. Oh, you take it. No, you take it. You
take it. No, Sam, you take it.
You take it.
Your room is red. You're taking it.
Okay, fine. Oh, Spider-Man 2 opens at a 91 on OpenCritic. Chris Tapsell at Eurogamer gives the game a 4 out of 5, saying, quote, "At once a little simple and a little overstuffed, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is still above all a game of immense charm and fluid free-form style." Meanwhile, Matt Miller at Game Informer presented the game with a 9.5 out of 10, saying, quote, "It's abundantly clear that this series isn't over yet," which isn't really a spoiler. You can imagine that they would make a Spider-Man 3 regardless of what happens in this title. "And I hope that Insomniac never really stops working on superhero games. There's so much of the Spider-Man mythos that's untapped so far, and you could keep this gravy train running with some crazier ideas once this presumed trilogy is over," end quote. Joe Donnelly at Games Radar give the game a 5 out of 5, saying, quote, "Marvel Spider-Man 2 improves on its predecessor across the board, while saluting the superhero genre over the last 30 years as a whole. With a captivating narrative and unrivaled spectacle, it's the quintessential superhero game in story and mechanical terms." Yeah, obviously taking all of these from OpenCritic, but it is
Metacritic
glowing.
Also is a 91.
Yeah, 99% of critics recommend. IGN gave it an 8. You know, idiots. What are they doing? What are they doing? No, their criticisms were valid. That's fine. I kid, of course.
Yeah, you need to keep your job, Sam. Be careful.
Yeah, I was sweating over here. Don't need another Greg Miller incident. Yeah, I mean, as the person who has obviously played it, technically finished it twice to 100% completion, I think this is perfectly valid. I would personally probably score it a little bit higher than that personally, if I could like dictate the OpenCritic. I think it does. I think Spider-Man 2 earns being, not that a couple of points matters really at all. I mean, all of this is superfluous at the end of the day, but I would put it at like a 93, 94. I don't know that you can get a AAA superhero game that's going to be better than this.
Wolverine, make it happen.
Hey, fingers crossed. You know, here's hoping. What I can say is that, and this isn't alluding to anything, trust me, but having played Spider-Man 2 and just seeing what they're capable of and how they're pushing the PS5 tech-wise, I think Wolverine does stand a chance to be a real special game. Not that this isn't a special game, because I think it is, but Wolverine, I think, has the potential to be Insomniac's The Last of Us, you know? Like in Uncharted, revered, loved, high-octane action, spectacle, set piece. And then Last of Us was their real step into the limelight, gritty moment where they proved that they weren't just a one-trick pony. I
really, really want not Old Man Logan, but I want the gritty atmosphere of Old Man Logan and the brutal grit, the raw atmosphere of, and the tragedy that is Logan's character to really shine through in the Wolverine game we end up getting. Yeah.
I mean, it's heavily rumored to be rated M, which is obviously, that's what we'd want.
I want it.
And I honestly think that, you know, some people have said, oh, I'm not sure Marvel would want Insomniac to do that. But if not Insomniac, then who? Like,
Crystal Dynamics,
the track record that they've don't break my heart, you know? I like the Avengers game for what it was. It had potential, damn it. Yeah, I think a more linear experience, not open world, like a linear narrative driven experience for Wolverine that's rated M. Yeah. I mean, we're both going to be day one regardless, but like, I think they'll knock it out of the park. Honestly, I think they've got it in them to do it.
All right. Awesome. All right, moving on. The PS5 Slim. Now, switching gears from Spider-Man 2, we will return to it for listener questions in our last story here. But the PS5 Slim is now rumored to release November 10th, according to the leaker Deal Labs, with corroboration from Ryan Henderson at Insider Gaming. And Ryan accurately predicted the PS5 Slim's existence with the detachable disk drive. So, for the record. So Ryan writes, according to our own sources, this November 10th date is accurate, with Sony already having an estimated 4.5 million units of the new console ready to sell. It's understood that Sony's previous estimation of 18 million units for the new PS5 in fiscal year 2023, this year, has been reduced to 14 million units. While this drop seems significant, our past reporting was based on Sony's expectation to release the console in September, or the console being the new Slim. But several delays have caused adjustments in their numbers. Internally, Sony expects a new console version to sell more than the standard PS5, which was reported over 40 million units in July 2023. And at this early in the console life cycle, I think I'm inclined to believe that. It's like, PS3 Fat to PS3 Slim. I think, sorry, a little backup. PS3 Slim, right, for listeners who don't know, had 3 distinct form factors. We had the launch PlayStation form factor, which some people called it the piano, huge console with the PlayStation 3, right, spelled out on the console. Is that true? Didn't you say PS3, right? Yeah. And then we had the PS3 Slim, which is the console I had, which I think was the most popular of the generation, it was put into a smaller form factor. So I wouldn't call it a small console, but I thought it was pretty sleek. Then we got the PS3 Super Slim, which was like a little flimsy sliding DVD disc tray. Okay. I think we're going to repeat that same cycle here, where the best-selling PS5 will be the iteration that's about to come out in November through the span of the console life cycle. But makes sense. It makes sense for that to be the case. And I don't know if any Sony fans who will be hardcore enough to get who replace their current PlayStation with the new Slim. Unless there's no utility.
There's not really any need to.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a more powerful SKU, like a Pro. It's just that it has slightly more internal storage for the digital version.
Yeah.
And you can have the choice of a detachable hard drive. So, but I think, I don't think it's listed here in the story, but I do remember reading that Sony's plan is to stop selling the current model once stock runs out. So this new slim version with a detachable disk drive, if you get the digital version, is going to be the only model of PS5 you can get once current stock runs out.
All right. Now, from a collector's perspective, I can see this going either way. There's some consoles in the past where the original iteration of that console sells for more than subsequent ones, like the original PlayStation 3 console. But that original model was backwards compatible with PS2, which subsequent Slim models were not natively. That makes it have an advantage. But for other consoles like the Xbox 360, well, that also had the Rivering of Death. Maybe that's not a good example. But at least for the PS2 and like the original Nintendo DS, Sam, I know you're not a Nintendo guy, but do you remember when the original DS came out? It was like this blocky, beveled, chamfered clamshell that was super bulky.
Yeah.
Then we had the DS Lite. DS Lite was awesome. And everyone and their mom could tell you the DS Lite was way better than the original DS model. I'm curious what direction the PS5 goes. I'm going to guess the original model, the one that I have, the one that you have, Sam, would go down in value from a collector's market in like 10 years' time.
I would imagine so.
It's just bigger with no added benefit.
Yeah.
But it's how it goes when you're an early adopter of hardware.
Hey, my base PS4 carried me through the entire generation. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Fine.
All right, Sam, you want to talk about earbuds and your controller?
Not really. Not really.
I thought it was funny. But
it is quite funny. Sony doing Sony things, you know. So Sony has supposedly filed a patent for a controller, PS5 controller, that charges your earbuds. So according to a patent filed by the company last week, which was spotted by GameRat, the company is exploring giving a new controller the ability to store, charge, and pair in-ear headphones. The patent includes images showing that the earbuds could potentially be stored in several different positions on the controller, including under the touchpad, suggesting that the configuration was not yet finalized when it was published. The product would eliminate the need for the user to separately pair their controller and headphones to a console, as well as the need to manage separate battery life statuses to ensure that the controller, the earbuds, and the case for the earbuds are charged. The controller is designed to act both as an input device and as a headphone storage, charging, and connection case, Sony says. Using the controller as a headphone case and an earbud charger eliminates the need to manage two separate devices. This all coming from Tom Ivan at VGC. Why?
This is so weird. Charging your earbuds on a controller. Also, I feel like that would be intrusive. I was talking on the Discord with Brandon, co-host at Frame by Frame, about like then wherever they put the touchpad. If the way this was visualized from what I've seen online is that where the touchpad usually would be is the docking built onto the controller for your earbuds. But then if that's the case, how do you use the touchpad? And then I thought, well, maybe they put the touch sensing on the back of the controller like the Vita days. I don't know. Or do they just have some margins on the corners of or on some surface area of that's outside of the charging station to fill in for the rest of your touchpad? Because the touchpad is needed. If you're Sony building controller, a DualSense controller iteration, you need touchpad functionality.
I mean, obviously, it does say that potentially the configuration isn't finalized with this patent, but they're just sort of cementing the idea. That's why they filed it. The only logical way that I could see it working is like on the here of the controller, if you could slot one in each side of the charging port.
Oh, okay. For listeners, Sam is pointing towards the two spots adjacent to the bumpers and triggers.
Yeah, on either side of the charging port on the top/back of the DualSense, just above the touchpad. I think that's the only way that makes sense to me. Like if you just had little, the similar to like what I don't have mine with me, but like Apple AirPods, just having the little configured shaped slots on each side that you can just pop your headphones into, your earbuds into. I think like that makes sense, but it's still kind of stupid to me because like, forgive me if I'm messing something up here, but surely inherently by doing that, you are going to completely cripple what battery life the DualSense has.
That's what I was thinking.
It's going to draw power from the controller to charge the headphones.
Yeah. And
so
the DualSense
technically becomes less convenient.
Yeah, yeah. And the DualSense already has subpar battery life.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. This is kind of like Sam and cars. This is lower gas mileage, bigger gas tank, maybe solution where you're right. They just install a massive, in terms of charge capacity, a massive lithium ion battery, way bigger than the one that's usually in the regular DualSense.
You think they have to, right? Because otherwise, they know that this would be an issue otherwise.
If you're Sony, you need to offer the functionality of charging your headphones while preserving the battery life of the PS5 controller. If I'm Sony, preserve the battery life of the regular DualSense, assuming the earbuds are charging through the full duration of controller use. Unless they're using it just like a way to dock your ear. No, it's really weird. So I'll see what happens. I haven't seen Sony do something this weird hardware-wise, or seems like they're doing something this weird hardware-wise.
Since the PlayStation Portal.
Well, yeah. See, in concept, in hardware, it makes sense. It just doesn't make sense that it doesn't stream games to me.
Yeah,
But
no, I'm being facetious.
But in physical hardware, PlayStation Move was the last time I was really dumbfounded. I'm like, okay, it's the Wii. Just say it.
Good for
Say it.
PlayStation VR though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that, I mean, that was after the fact. There was
That was after the
years
fact.
when Move was completely useless and redundant.
And they sold new Move controllers to support
They did.
PSVR.
They did.
PS3 was a crazy time, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's funny. It's just funny. Speaking of funny, there's this like Sphere business going on in Las Vegas. There's this thing called the Sphere. The companies can pay an exorbitant amount of money to take over and put their branding on it. And this is a $2.3 billion unit. And it's been making its runs around social media for a few weeks. And this last Thursday, Microsoft lit up the Sphere with Xbox marketing campaign. And then Sony did it with Spider-Man 2 stuff. And this just, I think it's just funny. And I've never heard of this before. Vegas is just gaining more and more notoriety from a pop culture perspective. But a question I have for you,
have you seen, sorry, before you ask the question, have you seen, because the Sphere is like, obviously it's the outside is tons of screens and it's a marketing ploy that people can pay a lot of money to use. But have you seen like inside, because they host like concerts and stuff in there?
Okay, so inside's where they actually, it's like they light up the dome that your concert is being held in.
Yeah, because the debut performance there was U2.
Yeah, it's in the article. Yeah.
And the performance, like if you look up on YouTube, the footage from inside that with the visuals that they put on the inside of that Sphere, it's ridiculous. So I think it's a really cool concept. I do think that it would get really annoying if you lived anywhere close to the Sphere, but because you're just going to be blinded by bright neon lights and marketing materials. It's like Blade Runner. We're getting closer to Blade Runner by the day, where there's just huge holographic marketing right outside your window that just makes it perpetually pink or red, perhaps, regardless of what time of day it is. And also, I saw some people, it's not part of the story, I saw some people say, oh, Sony put up a Spider-Man 2 ad on the Sphere a couple of days after Microsoft. They saw Microsoft doing it and thought, oh, we want some of that. Do you not realize how long these things take to sort out?
I think you need to get that scheduled with a lot of lead time.
Yeah.
And also the game came out Friday.
Unique animations, unique like CG for that stuff.
Oh.
But they need to map it because it's a 3D sphere.
You need to scale it up. And if you're not graphic designer, if you're a video producer, CGI effects artist, working on things for the Sphere must be a very interesting job.
Challenging, yeah, for sure. But no, like those things take work and time. Like you have to figure out with the people that own the Sphere, you have to buy it, figure out how to pay for it, and then you have to design the thing, and then you have to schedule the thing for when it's going to actually be on the Sphere. So it's not a reactionary thing. I mean, I know that it's like just fanboys, but it just made me laugh that people thought, oh, they chucked together this massive Spider-Man 2 marketing on this very unique, singular one-of-one building in the world. They did that in a couple of days, 24 hours, easy peasy. What?
It's funny. Well, thank you for all the background. Right.
Yeah.
I just thought it was this big like screen. I didn't realize there was stuff that happened inside the screen.
Mm-hmm. Bless you.
Sorry, video viewers, I should say. You saw me turn away. Thank God I knew to press mute in time.
It's all right. You could have just pretended you were doing like a headbang, just
slam my head on the table.
Yeah.
Sam, I have a concussion.
He does it sometimes. It's fine.
Yeah,
we don't question it.
Yeah, that's right. It's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can just like therapeutic blood removal or lobotomies.
Yeah.
Just helps.
I feel you.
Anyway, that's it. This week's Spider-Man 2. That's really the big thing this week.
Yeah.
So That's this week in news and PlayStation. But we have a ton of listener questions, and Spider also. Well, I think this is all Spider-Man. It's all Spider-Man questions. Shocker.
It is.
And they're all 3 of the 4 from Kyle and 1's from Kevin. So the 2 twins providing us with more content. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Sam, you want to read the first one?
Yes. So Kyle asks, do you think Spider-Man 2 will end up being the best-selling PlayStation exclusive ever?
I don't know. Let me bring this up. Best-selling.
That's a good idea, actually, to actually get out what is the best-selling one thus far. It's
Probably
like a Gran Turismo, isn't it?
Actually, yeah. That's people sleep on a lot. PlayStation exclusive games of all time. I'm gonna guess.
Spider-Man will be up there, 2018. I mean,
I'm trying to find most recent. So I have a list of best-selling PS4 games. I think it's easier to pull up a list of best-selling games by each generation comparing the unit numbers. This might take a second.
I'll fill the void whilst you search. Do I think it will be? I don't know. Do I think it has the potential to be? Undeniably. I think, it's a perfect storm of it being one of Insomniac's highest critically rated games, a sequel to a beloved title, that title being a globally beloved IP with a world-renowned superhero. On top of that, you've got the Miles Morales fever that's going on currently with pop culture, with the Spider-Verse films, and obviously even just like the popularity of Tom Holland in the MCU. I don't think that the face model that they have looks like Tom Holland, but some people do. But that might be something that draws people in. And Venom is probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous, Spider-Man villain. So for him to be front and center, I think they have everything going for them. That I don't know what could possibly hold this back from propelling itself to being one of, if not the best-selling PlayStation exclusive ever.
All right, so I have the list up. I just did it on my phone because its laptop is bad.
That's fine.
So on the PS1, Gran Turismo, the original Gran Turismo, topped out sales at 10.8 million copies.
Okay.
That's selling 10.8 million copies in the world of video games when you're in the late 90s. The market is nowhere as big as it is today. That's massive.
Yeah.
For the PlayStation 2, shocker, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec sells 14.89 million.
Jesus.
For the PS3, Gran Turismo 5 sells 11.95 million, topping it out. PS4. Wow. Oh, this is interesting. Sam, what do you think is the best-selling PS4 game?
The way you phrase that makes me think it's not one of the obvious answers. I mean, Spider-Man has to be up there because I know it got close to. It might have even exceeded 20 million. So it's probably something third party. Oh, wait. It's probably going to be a Call of Duty. That or like GTA 5.
Well, no, I'm talking strictly exclusives. So I skipped
strictly
over
exclusives.
So on the previous lists, there was GTA 5. There was like there were other games I skipped over just to get to the exclusives. And that was
so exclusives.
Kyle's question. Yeah,
exclusives.
The best-selling PS4 exclusive.
See, you're throwing me off because I would probably say Spider-Man because I don't see any of the other first party bangers topping those numbers, but obviously they probably did, unless you're like double bluffing me. I'm going to say Spider-Man. I'm probably wrong, but
yeah, it was Spider-Man. 20 million copies. Of course, this is all according to Wikipedia. I don't know if this figure includes or doesn't include Spider-Man Remastered sales. I assume it doesn't, because Spider-Man Remastered, Spider-Man are still two different games.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously, like, you have contextually that at the time of Spider-Man's release, the PS4 was selling gangbusters, one of the best-selling consoles of all time, and there was such a big install base at the point of that game's release. But like, no joke, if people are going to buy a PS5 for any game, it's going to be this one. Whether that is impulsively so they can play it day one, or as time goes on, when they start to see what stuff this game has in it, people are gonna want to buy it. So
I think it's likely Spider-Man 2, unless Spider-Man 3 kicks it out the door and it ends up on PS5 this generation. I think Spider-Man 2, you have the install base of the PS4 plus all these new adopters. You have the full install base from the PS4 console lifecycle, plus however many new people are brought into PlayStation from PS5. You already have that momentum.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, with Spider-Man 2 being PS5 exclusive, that might initially hamper sales, but I think over time it could definitely get boosted up there. Like, the question could be interpreted differently of like, do you think anything could ever top Spider-Man 2? Of course. Like, of course there could be a Spider-Man 3, I think could, depending on how well they execute that, how soon they manage to get that out. We could be, considering the speed at which Insomniac is working, we could have Spider-Man 2 in like Spider-Man 3, sorry, in like 4 years.
Yeah.
I think that's actually quite reasonable, honestly.
Have it be one of the last Swan songs before the move to PS6.
Yep.
Kind of a Ghost of Tsushima. Well, that wasn't a sequel, but
because then that means that Insomniac can theoretically also help kick off the launch of PS6 with maybe a brand new IP. They wrap up the Spider-Man trilogy for the time being, at least.
Yeah. Wolverine 2.
Wolverine. Hey, I'd take it, but I'd also love to see Insomniac do something new and original.
Right.
Or just go back to Resistance, Or
just go True. Oh wait, Sam, how was Resistance?
How was your time good
Resistance on the cloud?
So good. It makes me so sad. For context, because this is the lost episode that you won't be able to see. We discovered during recording last week that Resistance 3 is on the PlayStation catalog as part of the Classics collection, streaming only because it's a PS3 title. But Resistance is one of my favorite franchises, period. So I forgot about that actually when I was talking about what I was playing. I did dive back in. I haven't spent too long on it because, again, Spider-Man 2 has taken precedence, but it made me so sad that series isn't still a thing. It's Resistance 3 in particular is so good. It's so good. And it sold so poorly. And I just don't understand why, because it's such a good game.
How was the streaming quality?
A bit spotty, but that's mainly just because of my internet. Like it's not got anything to do with the actual the PlayStation side of things. It's more just that my internet provider and the package I have just doesn't really handle it all that well. I mean, just doing general stuff on my laptop, my internet is patchy at best, so I can't really expect it to work. That being said, I am potentially looking at upgrading my internet, so I will potentially report back over the coming weeks.
All right. Nice. Kyle also asks, Is Insomniac the best and most consistent, both time-wise and in terms of delivering games of quality, studio in either first-party suite? Either as in, I'm interpreting this as in Xbox, Microsoft, and Sony.
I would assume so.
Is Insomniac the best and most consistent with time-wise and delivering games of quality? As of since 2018, I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Because before that, Insomniac had a 7-year hiatus between Resistance 3 and Spider-Man, right?
No, they did Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah. Oh, they did Sunset, right? Then we had a Ratchet, maybe that came out 2012. I don't know.
We had Ratchet
2016.
Did a lot of VR stuff as well for Oculus.
Right, but that is not the same level they've been since the launch of Spider-Man.
No, definitely not.
So, Kyle, I guess to answer your question, I think this is true since the year 2018.
Yeah. I mean, Insomniac is a beloved studio for many people dating back decades at this point, including myself. Like Ratchet & Clank, I think was probably one of the first games I ever actually fully played myself to completion. I don't know that there is an argument to suggest that any other studio in the entire industry right now is doing it as well as Insomniac is. Because Insomniac, since 2018, and particularly since the launch of the PS5, have not only been putting out games at a pretty unprecedented rate that have all been high quality and reviewed incredibly well, and not only that, they're not only putting out good games, but they're also putting out good games that actually fully, properly take advantage of the tech that the PS5 has. So it's not just, oh, this is another great game that I could see working perfectly fine on a PS4, which is, I think, what you could maybe argue about some of the other titles, because, well, I mean, Forbidden West and Ragnarok were both cross-gen, so they could run on a PS4. All of Insomniac stuff, apart from Miles as a launch title, has been PS5 exclusive. Ratchet was, Spider-Man 2 is, and you see it. Like the Portal tech in Ratchet and Clank, and obviously no spoilers, but some of the stuff that they managed to pull off in Spider-Man 2, like they're the best in the business. And they make games that you can actually feel the passion pouring out from. They actually really, really care about the games that they make, and you can see it and feel it. So yeah, I think that there is no question. As of right now, Insomniac are the best anywhere. What a steal! I mean, I know we said it the other week, but 229 million, like Jesus Christ! Like they like instantly made their money back, and like tenfold with that acquisition. Can you imagine the amount of money that Insomniac has made PlayStation since they got acquired? And how much money they're going to continue to make, particularly when they put out games like Spider-Man 2. It's like arguably probably the best acquisition in the past 2 decades, I'd say.
Yeah, it's staggering.
The market value of Insomniac right now is probably ridiculous compared to what they got bought for.
If Insomniac was a publicly traded company, yeah, it would be nuts. So, yeah. Awesome. And now we're into some more Spider-Man questions.
Yes. Kyle says, who do you like playing as more, Miles or Peter? And do you have a favorite non-story related suit?
Well, you can answer the first question. For answering the second question, I'll take off my headphones.
I'll be. I have an answer, and it's not a spoiler.
Okay.
And it's like a new suit, so it's not one that you'd be able to recall or really have any context for. Who do I like playing as more? That's a really good question.
That's
such a good question for various reasons.
I know. I love from the previous games, the bioelectric powers made Miles more, I think, made Miles more fun for me in moment-to-moment melee. But
for sure,
I love the gadget choice Peter had in 2018.
Yeah. I think they're on a pretty even playing field in this game. I think starting the game, I enjoyed playing Peter more. And then, like, at the midpoint, I started vibing with Miles more. And then I think towards the end, I started to drift back towards Peter, but like a bit of a middle ground. Where I think at the end of the day, I lean more towards Peter. But I think that the suite of stuff that they both have available to them, both new and old, makes them equally as fun. So that would be my answer, which is a bit of a cop out.
Wow, yeah, come on.
If I had to choose, I would say Peter. But I think that it is far more balanced than like 2018 was compared to Miles, because Miles was just invariably the more fun actual like combat character to play. But yeah, they balance it out better. Do I have a favorite non-story related suit? Yes, because I will not spoil, of course, anything story related.
But we will have a spoiler cast.
I do.
Sorry.
It's coming, people. A spoiler cast is on its way. Let's think. I definitely know one for Miles. Miles, and obviously Kyle, for context, has finished this game as well at time of recording, and he will be part of the spoiler cast. Kyle will know, and people playing the game will probably know, but there is a suit that Miles gets somewhere on the tree. I can't remember exactly where. It's definitely not one of the later ones, but it's called the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. suit. And the base one I like, but it is the style/color variant that is Miles's colors, that is the black and the red with white accents. I rocked that suit the majority of the time in my first playthrough. For Peter Parker, this is going to be really, really basic. I'm actually going to say the advanced suit, the new one that he's got for this game.
Oh, come on.
Like, in my personal opinion, I think Miles has the definitively better suit selection in this game. But that's definitely not saying that Peter doesn't have great suits, because he does. Many of which I can't even comment on for want of spoilers for story or just general stuff that you might not know is in the game or not. But I didn't do this for 2018 or Miles Morales, but I found myself in the second playthrough actually sticking to both default suits for both Miles and Peter the entire time. And I love a lot of the suits, but I don't know. I don't know whether it's in conjunction with like the story and how it plays out, where I felt, because those default suits are canonically the Insomniac suits for those characters. Like, that is canonically what they would be wearing. I felt more inclined to stick with that this time around. And I also just love that compared to the advanced suit from 2018, which is the one with the white spider, obviously, they enhanced the actual red of the costume for Peter. Because in 2018 it was a bit more orangey, but they went with a real proper deep red this time around, and
good to know.
it just chef's kiss. Actually, that's made me realize there is a color variant for that advanced suit, for the default advanced suit, that instead of the blue is black. So it's a deep black with the deep red and the white spider, and that is sexy.
So is that a separate suit, or do these suits have color variants now in the game? Like you can select within each suit, here's like a subskin.
Indeed.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, so it's definitely not a spoiler.
Nah, it's fine.
But for a lot of the suits, not every suit, but most suits in the game, as you do in 2018 and Miles, you sort of unlock them as you level up. They each become available to purchase with your, the resources that you collect from doing crimes and yada yada yada.
Do crimes.
Do crime. And once you've unlocked the base suit, you can then spend a smaller amount of resources to unlock 3 color variations / different designs for that suit. So like the advanced suit, the new one, you have the basic red and blue one, and then the 3 color variants. One of them is the black and red one, and then there's 2 other different color choices that you can pick, and that is the case for most suits in the game, outside of some story ones and the deluxe edition ones. And that means that technically you have over, I think they said 200 suit choices at the end of the day to pick from, which is...
It's a lot of damage.
A lot of them look damn good, Taylor.
That's awesome.
Very good.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, at least for me, I haven't played the game yet, Kyle, but if the Raimi suit is back, that'll be hard to beat. If Bully Maguire Raimi suit, the black Raimi suit, is in the game, this for Peter, that will be exceedingly difficult to beat personally. Maybe I get swept off my feet. When it comes to Miles, all open range for me. We'll see what Insomniac throws my way, see what sticks. But I just have, if it wasn't obvious from however many months I've been doing this podcast and talking about Spider-Man related to Spider-Man 2, I have stupid nostalgia for Tobey Maguire era Spider-Man. That's why No Way Home is my favorite Spider-Man film, even though I saw both Spider-Verse films, which objectively I think are better movies.
Sure.
But yeah. Yep. Awesome. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap up the show here.
There's the Kevin question, which...
Oh, whoops. I skipped Kevin. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, who cares about Kevin?
He says, does the story do a good job balancing between Miles and Peter, or does one get more of the spotlight? Well,
yeah.
Can I just butt in here for a second and say, from an outside perspective looking in, if Venom is the main crux of the story, the symbiote's active, I'm going to guess everything revolves around, it would by default be Peter, because the symbiote directly affects Peter and the creation of, well, I don't know if that's comic book accurate or if that's accurate in this game. The symbiote is directly linked to Peter rather than Miles, so I would imagine Peter gets more of the focal point. Also, so see, what do you think, Sam? As someone who's actually played it.
Yeah, you're completely wrong, Taylor. No,
okay.
I think there's a better balance than you might assume.
Okay.
Like, yes, of course, the symbiote and Venom, and you've seen from the showcase gameplay that it's on Peter for at least a portion of the game. That is like the storyline, like the main storyline, but it's, again, without spoiling anything, it is the storyline for Peter. Miles most certainly has his own storyline in the game, and receives just as much screen time, attention, mission dedication. And I think that extends even into like the side stuff, the miscellaneous activities.
It's great because Miles is very intertwined with his culture and neighborhood.
Yeah,
that's something that I think Insomniac made clear, to a clear emphasis for Miles particular compared to Peter
and
2020.
Without spoilers, they double down on that here, whilst also finding interesting things to have Peter do. You know, not that there is necessarily a direct equivalent to the Harlem community for Peter, but they find things for him which are equally as compelling. Which is it's all just very, very good. You know, I don't think I've said it here, but it is going to be my game of the year. It's the most fun I've had in a game. I think it is the best superhero game ever made. I can't fault it. I didn't find really a single thing wrong with it. I wasn't bored at any point. So it's just very good. Insomniac know what they're doing, surprisingly. Who knew?
I'm excited, and I'll be using to the hotel with me. Of course, I did bring the Spider-Man 2 PS5 DualSense that I'll be using for the first time to play this game.
Christening it in, yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you all for the questions. And yeah, so thank everyone again so much for listening. You can find us on YouTube at Save the Game Media, Discord, Extra Life. Support us. Patreon links are on the description. Where can people find you, Sam?
People can find me anywhere and everywhere at Sam Heaney, Heaney. What about you?
Awesome. You can find me on the Discord as Taylor. That's it. Wow, Venom's okay. Sam's holding up his 19 inches of Venom. Sam, maybe it's just me from looking at your screen, but Venom's teeth are a lot more yellow than I thought they would be on the statue.
Hang on.
They're really yellow. No,
the tips are a bit whiter, but
yeah, I think he might have some like gum disease. On a statue, doesn't he? He has something going on up there. He needs to get that looked at.
You know, I don't think that's high on his priority list, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
he's got bigger things to be doing.
Right. We're gonna get a Venom DLC where we fight Carnage as Venom. Insomniac, make it happen.
Don't tease
me. I don't even know if that happens in the comics, but I don't care. Insomniac, make it happen.
What if it's already in the game?
I was just going from what background I have from Venom 2, which is not a good source. But anyway. All right. Thanks again, everyone. It's been episode 66 of No Limits. Bye-bye.